Okay. So what I wanted to do today is to give you an overview of interaction styles. And this is because soon you will be doing a paper prototype, and you need then to decide which interaction style you're going to use. But first, I wanted to hear if you have any questions about Project 3. I did put the description on the web. Have you managed to read through it? Yeah. Do you have any comments or questions, or no? Yeah, I could. We can open it and check if there are some things that you would like to discuss. Wait. Here. I have it here. Okay, so the main idea is that you do a paper prototype. And it will be according to the lecture on paper prototypes. And I want you to do it by the book, as in the course book. So I want you to do paper prototypes with post-its only. Yep. This is the way that they recommend in the book, especially for new ideas, because you have a totally new idea, and then you have to be able to move everything around when you interview people. So the first thing is, yeah, this is the goal, the paper prototyping and interviewing using the paper prototypes with users. So that is like the main thing. It is 50, yeah, so okay, 15% of the grading is for the overall quality of the project. This is similar to it, how it always has been. But now you will do a 10 minutes presentation. And the total grading for this project is 15%. And 30% is for the presentation. So it's almost 5%. You know, for the presentation of it, and then 10% for the project. Okay. So you continue your work on the same project as in project 2. The first thing you do is to develop a story map, like Birna taught you to do, and you had a problem-solving class to do that. So you should know the method. That was the thing that you did for the bank in the problem-solving class. Yeah. Yeah, so you are mapping out what should the user be able to do in your design, in your system. So you will do a story map, and you should do the walking off the wall. Many of you, or half of you, did during the problem-solving class yesterday. So then you have done that. The deliverables for the walking off the wall is that you should have a photo. So I hope you took a photo of it. Did you? Yeah, yeah. And then describe how the process was. You know, like for you that attended the problem-solving class, you can say, well, we had half an hour. We had 4 guests. They walked the wall silently, so on. You know, it's not a long text. It's more like saying how it happened. That is their description of how the happened. and then list of the design ideas. That is the output that you got. Okay. Then you should make a paper prototype, and maybe actually when introducing this, it's maybe easier to talk first about 7. So you should prepare tasks that you will be able to run in an interview with users. Remember how we talked about how an interview with prototypes is conducted? It's very similar to contextual interviews. You first give the introduction, and then, but now you have a paper prototype and you ask the users, okay, if you would have this task, what would you do in the paper prototype? Yeah. So to be able to do that, you of course have to have lists of tasks. So first of all, you should decide what tasks would I like to cover in the interview. And then you have to make a paper prototype matching the tasks so you will be able to run it. Yeah. And the paper prototype should map you should be able to use the paper prototype in a task solving session for 30 minutes. So you have to have enough of tasks to be able to do that. Okay, and it should be only with Post-it. It's in red. Okay. So, and then the deliverable is the paper prototype itself. You can just take photos of it and put it on the blog. And you should have a design rationale for each page. And since I haven't covered what that is, I will show you now. So design rationale is like your statement of, or your reasons for why you have chosen this and that design. Okay, so like for this one, you write some things about what is the design rationale. Like here, I just made this up. This is a photo from the book. And I just said, well, the reason for having 3 big fields on the screen is that these are the core tasks of the user, and we found out in the contextual interviews. So you are giving, like, telling us why did you choose to have this there and this there and so on. It's all based in some information you got from the interviews, or maybe that you saw it at the competitive website or something. So you give reasons for why you design it this way. Okay? No, you are supposed to do it this way, only with Post-its. In the next run, in project 4, you can do wireframes. But now it's only Post-its. Right, right. Like you saw, similar to what you saw in the video there with the cute little girl there. You know, they had like everything on paper. That would be the detail in project 4, but it's similar. You will have Post-it notes to show. And if they say, maybe they say, oh, I don't understand anything. Why is this? I think it's awkward that this is placed here. Then you can just take it and place it somewhere else. This is the reason for Post-its. And you can do it while the user is there. You can ask them, okay, so, but if I switch, would this be better? And they say, no, I don't know. I would like it to the right or something. And then just put it there. And so it's a collaboration. It's a co-design. Okay. And you should conduct prototype interviews with as many users as there are students in the group. Similar to, and you should photo each session with the users. If the users don't want to be recognized, you can just take like the from back or something, so they are not really recognized, but you can see that there's a person there. You should describe how each interview was conducted and describe the results of each interview. And then you make a joint list of the outcomes of the interviews, because maybe the same thing happened in all the three of them. So you could then take a list of, okay, there was a problem with the design of our, I don't know, advice part of the software, and none of them found it. We had 4 users and none of them found it. Okay, so you make like a joint list. And then there is this presentation. There will be presentations Wednesday and Thursday. So there will also be presentations during this period here. So we will take the problem solving session and this for the presentations, because you have 10 minutes each group. And I want all members of the group to be present during the presentation. And we have two slots there. Okay. I mean, we have 2 dates. So hopefully all of you can attend. Yeah. Question. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good question. What should you present? I would leave it up to you. You have 10 minutes and you're going to present your project. And I don't want to give you more advices. Just present what you would like to hear from the other groups. You have to make a presentation so we understand what you're doing. It could be, that you tell the elevator speech, show the personas, show the vision, maybe, or maybe 1 or 2 examples from the prototypes. But the goal is that you can communicate to the other students what you're making. And you can use the time in various ways. Like you can also open for questions or share some knowledge or something. It's up to you how you use the time. Okay. And then the other things are, it's just how you deliver in. It's similar to project 1 and 2. Now you also deliver in the PowerPoint slides, or if you like use Prezi, you could deliver in the link. And it's on the 10th of October that you have to deliver in. And here are the things that are unclear. And I deliberately leave it open that what you present for the fellow students is just up to you. Okay. Some questions? Yeah. So what I wanted to go through is that there has been a long history of interaction styles, and some are actually, even though we think like command line is very old-fashioned, this is still used. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So and sometimes similar things are used now, like when you phone, like when you phone Vodafone, you have problems. You phone 1415, and they say, if you have this problem, you should insert. So you are always giving like one comment at a time. Comment at a time. It is a little bit like a command line interface that you say something and what people liked about command line is that it is quick and it is efficient in that way that if you're an expert and you remember how the commands are, it can be very fast and powerful. But you had to be very precise in how to operate it. So I don't know if you plan to have a command based interface for your system now. Sometimes it's more like for operations or for specialists that are like in the background. It requires a rather accurate mental model, and it's not. Yeah, it can be very confusing for inexperienced users. There is very little feedback, so it is suitable for repetitive tasks and good for expert users, as I say, but not for beginners. So you should think about your user groups. It has a steep learning curve, and the error rates are really high because you have to remember how the commands are. There's no support. So it can be very frustrating for novice users. But this was the beginning, and yeah, before 1985, this was very, very common. This was the only thing we had. Then, and we got yeah, the IBM in 1985 was similar to this. We didn't not always have a hard disk. We had diskette to store our data in. But then shortly after that, we got the Macintosh and the GUI. So it was there around, yeah, maybe in between 85, that the first graphical user interfaces were shown, and it was a huge difference. When we are designing this, we have to think about, people don't like to go very have to use many of those. So like if you have to dig 6 menus and then maybe up again and then 3 and so on, it's very it takes a lot of time. So yeah, so this is the Apple from 1987. And I remember actually earlier, 1987. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I was thinking about 97, but yeah, from 87 they introduced the graphical user interface with the Macintosh, and then the menus were based on recognition as opposed to recall. So you didn't have to remember everything. Like, you could, like, if you wanted to copy in the command line, you had to say the name of the command and then what the name was of the file that you were copying, and then the name of the new file, all in one line and all, rightly spelled and everything. But now you could just get the menu and say copy. It was really a huge difference. But like I said, it has there are many different ways of how to design it. You could have a sequential menus, you could have a hierarchy, or what we are used today is the web network that you can go between all of them. And this is hardest to understand for the user, to get a mental model like this, the web network. So the advantages here are that there is low memory requirements. It is self-explanatory, and also easy to undo errors for the beginners. But the disadvantage is maybe that the biggest is that it's inefficient. For large menu navigation and the use of screen. It takes a lot of space on the screen. It's getting cold here, isn't it? You're not cold? I'm a little bit cold. Okay, so this was menu-based. The next one is form fill-in. And we are used to this today in web applications and so on. Often these are based on some new or some design that was on paper and then is transferred to the systems. And they can be presented using single scrolling screens or multiple screens. And there are some design or maybe the most important thing is that the users must understand what data is required. So sometimes it's very good to have some examples of the data. And the date is a typical one. Which format do I need to insert the date in? Because this, if like some of the abbreviations for dates are, so if you would like to say the 12th of October, it could be 12/10/2016. But that could also be if we have another format, it could be the 10th of December. So the user could easily do errors if we don't tell them is the month the first or the second. So the advantages here is that you have low memory requirements, and it also is most often self-explanatory, particularly if you give examples of the data. and you can gather a great deal of information. What you have to think about when designing the forms is the grouping. How is the grouping? There was once an example I had where we were two people applying for a grant for a student, and they had grouped it that way that they had both the names together, then the addresses together, then the affiliation together. You see? So you didn't give them the information of one person and then the other person. It was, what are the names of the two people? Ásrún and Marta. Where do they work? You know, and I was always, did I put Ásrún first or me? And you know, when you understand, so they grouped according to the database probably, but not according to my mental model. I wanted to give all the information for first this person and then the other person. So this is very, very important here. Question and answer. This is often, if you have tutorials or something, you're really designing for beginners. These are also called wizards. So this is actually the design like we had here, the sequential design of screens. And this is very, very good if you know that the people will only do this maybe once and never again. Like downloading something, you know, you are downloading a file or something like that. And then they give you some instructions here. I find it sometimes still hard to use these because I think it's sometimes hard to understand the alternatives they give. Okay, the advantages here are that these are also low on memory requirements. You know, the users don't have to remember. And it's easy for beginners. But it can be tedious to correct mistake because you maybe have to go many screens back to correct something and then go forward again. Direct manipulation. This was suggested there in 1982. And it is actually also the menu design is a part of this. So direct manipulation is a contrast to the command things. So it is a continuous representation of the objects, meaning that you see directly what happens. So you move the mouse and the mouse shows. You think this is really normal, but it wasn't that way at this time. This was really inventive because you could have editors where you gave comments like, I would like this text to be bold, and you would put a dot BD, meaning bold, and then maybe, yeah, and then the text, and then dot NB, non-bold, and then a text again. And then you had to run this to see if the text really were bold or not. This was the only way with the common languages. So, you know, just seeing the text being bold was just like really magic. It was a magic thing. Okay, so direct manipulation is the continuous representation of objects and actions. And it is like a physical action or process of labels. So physical action meaning with the mouse and you can just press buttons instead of complex syntax, what you had in the commands. So it's rapid, it's incremental, and it's reversible. The undo was also a part of this thing that you could. That was not in the command language at all. If you made mistakes, you had done it. You couldn't reverse. It couldn't remember anything you did, how the status was before. So that was maybe the most important thing here. And it was Ben Snyderman, one of the gurus in this field, that suggested this. And it has like these three phases, how the screen looks before any user action, and then how the screen looks during the user action when it's clicking and dragging, and then how it looks afterwards. It's easy to learn, it's low on memory, easy to undo. That is really the thing that came here. And it gives immediate feedback to the user actions. So it is easy for beginners. It's maybe not it is not self-exploratory. So meaning that explanatory, I mean. So sometimes you don't really know what to do. It doesn't really tell you, but afterwards we got maybe the suggestions, or you what is it called, when you browse over a button, you can get a help text. Hoover. So, but that was not here. So this is why it's called, it was not self-explanatory. And at that time, or still has, but now we have so good systems that it's not a problem anymore. But at this time, it was there was this advantage of the high graphical system requirements. That was a challenge at this time. Okay, metaphors. Maybe you will use some metaphors in your design. And metaphors are visual relationships of real-world objects. And they are supposed to help you to relate some complex concepts in the digital world to the real-world knowledge. And we have a lot of those here on the screen. So like the wastebasket there, the folders, and so on. But my kids asked me, why is file always blue? What is actually the icon there, this blue icon for filing? They've never seen a diskette before. They are 13 and 16. They've never seen this. It's just like some object that they don't relate to. I remember this one. I even remember the flip diskettes that were before this. So, and also this yellow thing there, the folders. They've never seen a cabin with yellow folders. So this is just like some drawing for them. So this gets outdated. This is what I say. They've seen this here because we do some hiking and so on. And there's one in the summer house. And actually, I'm not sure they relate this to a telephone. They haven't seen, they've seen it on a museum or something. the telephones that are like this, but they mostly see GSM phones. So what I'm saying is this gets outdated sooner than you think, actually. My son, he is now 22, but when he was 6, he asked me, are there any other currency is in Iceland, like, paper currency than 500 kronas? Because he had never seen any. We were using cards every time, And I was like, oh, what? So we went to the bank and I showed him all the available currencies. But I was so surprised, you just get used to this change, but he had never seen it. Yeah, so the metaphors, the function is to be, for you to relate to real world expectations, but it can be hard. And actually, the Macintosh, they did a great design error, actually, in their first design here. In this one. Okay, so in this one, you didn't have any hard disk. And when I was studying for computer science, I didn't have a computer myself, of course. They were very expensive. So you had to book a time when you were able to use the computer at the university. And you brought your diskette there, and you could have 1 hour to do your assignment, and then the next student came. And you would put your diskette there in the field there, in the in the machine. And then when you wanted to take it out, can you imagine what you were supposed to do? Have you heard this? Okay. You had a diskette logo, and you were supposed to take the diskette logo and drag it to the trash can. And then the diskette came out. But I was always very worried. Do you know why? Yeah, I thought I was deleting. I'm putting it in the trash can. But it was only for taking it out, not deleting everything from it. And there was probably a designer, that thought this was a very cute idea or something. But all the users were worried. They still do it. Okay. Yeah, but maybe now people have used, they know this, or I don't know if beginners still are worried. It's changed, that strange that they haven't changed it, actually. Don't you think? Yeah. But what when you were starting? No. Okay, you're young. Yeah, okay. Okay, so they think it's probably, I didn't know this. So they think it's probably, it's like their way, their brand or something, maybe. But yeah, it's wise of them to change it to an eject, so you know. Yeah, but they could have dragged it to something else, not the trash can. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it does. But I don't know. I at least know that people were afraid at that time about this, because it was, you were used to, if you did delete, you had deleted everything, It was no undo. It's maybe that also. Yeah. Okay, we should have a break now.